Hi, I'm Senator Hicks, and part of my congressional campaign is inspired by my work with Truth Action Project. I'm the facilitator here in New York City with Truth Action Project. Today we're at Ground Zero for the anniversary weekend. The 9/11 anniversary is in 2 days, so this is the regular Saturday outreach. We're all here together. We got a really great tribe of people, got great signs. They've even got a laptop. They're blasting it out at top volume. The cops are cool with it. It's kind of great. You're supposed to have a permit for amplified sound, but the cops are overlooking it. And that is symbolic to me of it really does seem like things are changing in this country, that people realize that we do need a real investigation. Today, an amazing percentage, a very, very high percentage of people are willing to sign our petition. I want to tell the nationwide 9/11 truth movement that petitioning is not only important, but it's fun. Okay? It's fun because it's like a sport. It's physical. If you're playing basketball or lacrosse or football, it's all about where you put your body, right? So as you notice, what I try to do is I try to actually get, a little bit physical with people and just be like, hey, this is so important to me that I'm really going to put my body in your way and try to slow you down and say, hey, short and sweet petition, and it's important. A lot has changed in the last year. What do you got to lose? Do you believe Bush and Cheney gave you the truth about 9/11? I bring up those names because those usually elicit a visceral reaction in people. They think about the deception, the lies of the Iraq War and anthrax, 9/11, Abu Ghraib, Guantanamo, black sites, rendition. I could go on and on, right? So I bring up that, I say, I'm engaging. I say, do you believe that Bush and Cheney gave you the truth about 9/11? And then usually people are like, and then I'm like, please sign. That usually works. The worst thing at all is when people say, I'm good. It's like, I want to say, but what is the good? The good thing is actually to take a stand for democracy and peace, but people have these, blasé reactions. And sometimes you can't shatter it. You can't, shatter the apathy, but I'd like to try. So that's what you're seeing here today. You're seeing me play the game the way I like to play it. You gotta use the body. You gotta use all your enthusiasm. You gotta be short and sweet. You gotta be engaging. You have to ask questions. Today, also 66% of people out here are tourists from Europe. So that's a problem. So I've been trying to say, are you an American? Which is actually kind of a great question to say, are you an American citizen who cares enough to sign a petition? Sometimes people say, well, that's 16 years ago, but really, justice doesn't always happen right away, and a lot has changed in the last year with the 28 pages in JASTA. If you encounter that, that's called the fade factor. But you know what? The fade factor is a mental illusion. Congress investigated the JFK killing in 1978, 79 with the House Select Committee on Assassinations, right? That was about 15 or 16 years after the 1963 assassination of Kennedy. Here it is about 15 or 16 years after 9/11. So it's kind of like the perfect time, actually, right now, for a House Select Committee on 9/11.
Now and then we lose it.
Okay.
And if a guy puts his
I lose it too. I lose it too.
If a guy puts
I got
his
one of those
finger
today.
up to me,
I got one of those.
I fuck with him.
I know. Okay.
You're right.
Yeah, I got one of those today too. It is offensive to get the get flipped off. But
He's one of 50.
I know. But listen. Think of it. Think of what we're doing as like a microcosm for international relations. If we go to war at the first provocation, or can we be stronger warriors? No, that was a little bit of a battle. But if we can let it go and say and laugh at the anger or laugh at the hatred that they're giving us or laugh at them flipping us off, then we'll be stronger truth activists.
I'll walk up and I'll walk with the person.
Right.
And I'll ask them, what's wrong? Where did you get steered from the truth?
Right.
Where is it that you actually haven't taken the time to understand this?
Right. Or when they say I was there, you have to say, well, tell me about your experience. Tell me about your story, right?
And,
A guy came up to me like that, right? He was here too. He said some shit. I followed him for 2 blocks. We shook hands, and I said, how did Building 7 fall? And when he finally thought of that, he couldn't give me an answer.
Right.
We shook hands, and it actually ended in a really good way. Sometimes people need to be shaken up because they cannot believe the government would do this to them.
See, what we're really dealing with here is denial. There's a level of psychological denial, but specifically, I've gotten that before, of I was there. Yeah. And so it's kind of like, yeah, okay, you have to be like, what exactly did you see? Tell me about your experience, and then kind of begin to change their minds based on their own experience. Do you believe Bush and Cheney told you the truth? This is that's pretty hard to debate because they're so non-credible, right? And then, or the explosions, first responders, 108 eyewitnesses that said they heard explosions, and why is that not in the mainstream media? I'm here today with my fellow 9/11 truth activist. He's an artist, he's a sculptor, he is an electrical engineer. Electrical and civil engineer. This is Ross Muir, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, hi, nice to speak with you. And boy, I tell you, it's one thing Sanders said about petitioning is it really does kind of become addictive in terms of the kind of unique interaction you have socially with people, which I haven't found in any other venue. And Sanders brought that up earlier, and I have to agree with that. I really have found it to be a very way of communicating and connecting with people in no other way. And that is a kind of a sad truth about 9/11. And an unfortunate opportunity is it's really a golden opportunity on a silver platter that's been served up about how to just be able to talk about a controversial truth and know that you're right. And so
what I wanted to ask you, tell us more for the petitioners out there, for people that are thinking about doing this in their town, starting a Truth Action Project group. What are the techniques that work for you to get petitions signed?
Well, for me, it's to be to the point quickly. People, a lot of times they won't know what you're petitioning. There's a lot of people that petition on different issues, but if you can come up quickly and get the hook in them, whatever it is your expertise is. For me particularly, it works well to mention the civil engineering background and the group, the Architects and Engineers for Truth, that I'm a part of, because I can immediately refer to our evidence regarding explosives being found in the dust and our solid truth evidence that is really irrefutable. You can get that in people's ears right away, and of course they're going to be inclined to believe you because of the visual evidence of 9/11. And it just kind of right away you'll know at that point if someone is sympathetic at all, if they've been thinking of it. And of course you'll find that most people are thinking of it. Sometimes you get a reverse reaction, but those people are generally more emotional and less able to discuss science. Every now and then you'll get somebody that will discuss the science with you, and those are productive discussions as well. And then you'll be getting signatures, and you'll be finding common ground with people, and people that you disagree with, you'll find you still have common ground with them.
Tell us about a time you got resistance, but you were able to win them over.
Well, there have been many times you get resistance right off the bat because they think, conspiracy theories. See, you are one of those conspiracy theorists, and they'll say that, and right away you can say, no, actually not. What I'm talking about is scientific facts that we have that we want to present to the Congress and to the people that the government ignored and they told us they were going to ignore, which we think is an abdication of their responsibility and quite suspicious, frankly. So quickly you can divert that conversation saying, our evidence shows military-grade explosives. I was on site in New York City on September 11th, came down just around the corner here on rollerblades at about the same time that World Trade Center 7 came down, and collected dust in my old Kodak film containers. And so a lot of people did the very same thing. There was this very obvious, strange evidence all over the place, which was this dust. And of course the video evidence showing the speed of the collapse of these buildings, these strong buildings that were not damaged from the floors down to the impact zones. So right there we had a lot of ways of immediately diverting the conversation to the real facts of the case and the real discovered suspicious behavior of the government in not investigating or overturning these stones. And the financial trail is another big, huge trail that has been ignored, which is never ignored in investigatory proceedings. So investigations are something that need to be done professionally. They weren't done professionally. It's very easy to show that. So we're going after them again because guess what? You're not going to be able to close the door on this, and we prove that by talking to people because they're not, the people I talk to, even if they're well-informed or uninformed, they are not letting go of it either. So, and then the ones that are emotional against us, they also don't want to let go. But in the end of the day, we have our case to make, and the people that are emotional about it on the other side of the fence, they will want to come around to the truth as well if the government gives them that opportunity to be part of the government. Right now, they've got to be part of the cover-up if they're with the government. So we're going to change that and say, hey, the government is the people. The government is of the people, by the people. and you can support your government again when they do their responsibility on September 11th, and we can get that done rather quickly once the ball gets, once we get some real traction in the courts and in the congressional system.
So what's stopping us? Nothing is stopping us. It's an opening. It's an opportunity. We declare this opening. We declare this possibility that justice is in our world, that we Americans are capable of justice. If you believe in God, well, God is a God of justice, and God promises justice to the people who live for justice. And if you're not a God person, then justice is something you can understand without God, I guess. So, yeah.